Hello everybody, welcome to a new video of Baldur's Gate 3. In this episode, I'm going to share another multi-class build for Transmutation Wizard. If you have watched my Transmutation Wizard guide video or the recent Mistral Cleric video, I think you already know it has a nice affinity with any class that can have proficiency in the medicine skill. It can allow your team to always run with enough elixirs and potions. And it can give any class proficiency in constitution checks, which is very valuable for any build that needs to maintain concentration. It has almost become my new favorite wizard subclass. Now, today, let's see how it can enhance a paladin. So this build is an alchemist paladin kind of setting that enhances itself with elixirs to get superhuman stats and keep dealing tons of damage to the enemies with the smite spells from the paladin class. It has 2 levels of paladin and 10 levels of transmutation wizard. When not on elixirs, it's a dexterity build that has maximized the AC, maximized the initiative rolls, and maximized the fitness weapon output. But with the Transmutation Wizard subclass, we can be constantly under the effect of strength elixirs to have an above maximum strength. Elixir of Heal Giant Strength raises our strength to 21. Elixir of Cloud Giant Strength raises our strength to 27. Elixir's effects last a whole day, and with the Transmutation Wizard subclass ability Experimental Alchemy, we can produce twice as many products when doing alchemy, as long as we pass a medicine skill check. Normally, we will never run out of these elixirs. When under the effect of a strength elixir, we will become a strength build that also has a maximized dexterity. This will make us able to use any melee weapon and have a maximized or even beyond maximized output. And since it's heavy on the wizard class, it has a lot more spell slots than the normal paladin. And you can unlock higher level spell slots faster, which means the maximum damage of your smite spells grows faster than the normal paladins. As for the spells of this build, we will constantly maintain concentration on Shield of Faith. This spell raises our AC by 2, making us even harder to hit. And when we reach level 6 of Transmutation Wizard, we can create the Transmuter Stone for ourselves to get a proficiency in Constitution saving throws, so that we have a better chance of maintaining concentration on Shield of Faith, even if we get hit. And because we multi-class into Wizard, we can use the Shield spell. It's a reaction that gives you another 5 AC for 1 turn when you need it, making you harder to be hit. Remember to untoggle your opportunity attack in case you waste your reaction on that and can't cast your protection reactions. Anyways, in battles, this build will be a very good tank. On the offensive side, we can cast smite spells at the highest damage possible to deal a large amount of damage in a short time. By default, we'll use Divine Smite. This spell makes your weapon deal an additional 2d8 radiant damage and another 1d8 radiant damage to undead and fiends. And when you upcast it, you raise the radiant damage. What's good about the smite spells is that if you miss the attack, you don't spend a spell slot. This means you have less risk than a normal mage when using spell slots for damage. When upcast, the radiant damage of Divine Smite increases for 1d8 for every level increased. But it's capped at level 4, so any spell slots we have beyond that just increase the times we can cast the smites. And remember to untoggle auto-casting so that we can control when to burn those spell slots. When we fight a tough enemy, like in a boss fight, we can use our bonus action to drink a Potion of Speed. Then we can use Divine Smite 2 times in a turn, dealing a huge amount of damage. Again, because we are a Transmutation Wizard, we will have more Potion of Speed than usual. Under normal circumstances, we will have at least 1 for each boss. This potion also increases our AC by 2, so it makes us stronger on the defense as well. Normally, radiant damage is a very good damage type. You seldom find enemies resistant or immune to it, especially if you decide to fight evil. Under some rare occasions where radiant damage doesn't work, we can use Thunderous Smite. This one deals additional thunder damage. It pushes the enemy away and possibly knock them prone. It deals less damage than Divine Smite, and it consumes both a spell slot and a bonus action on a hit. We can only cast it once in each turn, even if we are on Potion of Speed. Okay, given all above, I think the job of this build is pretty clear. When fighting a tough enemy, it burns its spell slots to quickly deal a large amount of single target damage. In trivial fights, it engages the enemy and uses its high AC to survive, so the teammates on the back line can eliminate the enemies safely. So, what do you think of this build? Do you want to try it? If you like this build, or if you like what I'm doing, please subscribe to this channel and help it grow. I'm still trying to get to the 1000 follower threshold. Thank you very much in advance. Okay, now let's talk about the leveling strategy, when to level into each class and what you can do in different stages of the game. We start this build with the Paladin class to get our smite spells ASAP. We can choose any subclass because we won't be using the subclass abilities anyway. When originally allocating ability scores, we give the major bonus to dexterity and bring it up to 17, which is the highest possible for now. We'll eventually get it to 20. This is to maximize our AC, our initiative rolls, and our fitness weapon output. Then we give the minor bonus to Wisdom and make it 16. This is the ability score for medicine skill checks. It makes us more likely to create twice as many products when doing alchemy. Wisdom makes us better at sensing danger and noticing hidden things, which is valuable when exploring. It also makes us hard to control by the most powerful control spells in the game. And because we start as a paladin, we have proficiency bonus for wisdom saving throws, which is +2 for now and will eventually become +4 at level 9. So our effective wisdom is actually higher than 16 when making saving throws. Then we forego 2 strength to bring constitution to 13, we'll later make it 14. This is to increase our hit point and thus our survivability. This will also increase our chance to maintain concentration when taking damage. We leave intelligence unchanged at 10, we won't be using it to cast offensive spells. We also leave charisma unchanged at 10, this makes us weak in conversations, but we just can't afford to get it. When allocating skill proficiencies, remember to allocate 1 to medicine, this will be what we use for alchemy. At level 1, Paladin also gets 3 Lay on Hands charges each day. This action can cure a team member of any disease. We can also use it to heal hit points, but that ability scales with Paladin levels, so we won't use it in this build. We also get the ability Divine Sense. We can spend a bonus action to gain advantage on attack rolls against the Celestials, Fiends, and Undead. This ability recharges every short rest. At level 2, we can learn all of our core spells: Shield of Faith, Divine Smite, Thunderous Smite. There are 2 other smite spells, but they require concentration, so we won't be using them. At this level, we can also choose our fighting style. We choose defense here. This increases our AC by 1 as long as we wear armor. From level 3 to level 12, we'll be leveling up in the wizard class. For the wizard cantrips, we are gonna choose 3 utility cantrips. There is no point in choosing anything offensive because Wizard uses intelligence to cast the spells, and we are not gonna land many offensive spells with 10 intelligence. First, we choose Light. This cantrip can make an object shine and illuminate the surroundings. Then we choose Mage Hand to manipulate things from a distance. Then we choose Minor Illusion to distract people. For the Wizard starting spells, first we choose Shield to be even better at dodging attacks. Then we choose Enhanced Leap and Feather Fall. These 2 combined can give your party more freedom when exploring the map. Then we choose Disguise Self, which allows you to assume a false identity. This can be useful in places where a certain race has benefits. Then we choose Find Familiar. This allows you to summon a creature into your party to help with combat and exploring. Once summoned, they'll be there until their hit points get reduced to 0. It's a ritual spell, which means if you cast it outside of combat, it doesn't consume your spell slot. And summon spells don't need to stay prepared once the creature is summoned. Then we choose Thunder Wave. It can be used to move heavy objects outside of combat. At Wizard level 1, you also get the ability Arcane Recovery. You can recover a combined level of spell slots that is less than or equal to half your Wizard level, rounded up. At level 4, we choose into the Transmutation School and get the ability Experimental Alchemy. Now we can start to produce twice as many products when we do alchemy. At this level, we can also learn and prepare the spell Long Strider, which I think is a must-have for any party. It increases the target's moving distance for the whole day without concentration, as long as the spell is still prepared. And it's a ritual spell too. We can also learn Chromatic Orb. It can be used to deal a certain type of damage to trigger some effects. At level 5, we can learn and prepare the spell See Invisibility. This is one of the best abilities of a wizard. It lasts a whole day and doesn't need concentration, but you do need to keep it prepared. We also get to learn Knock. This spell can unlock any lock no matter its difficulty class, unless the story forbids it. At level 6, we can choose our first feat. Here, we choose Ability Improvement to bring our dexterity to 18 and our constitution to 14, giving them both another +1 modifier. We also get to learn and prepare the spell Misty Step. It is useful both inside and outside of combat by teleporting for quite a distance, and it only takes a bonus action. At level 7, we can learn another powerful spell that every mage should learn, Counter Spell. This allows you to completely negate an enemy spell as a reaction. Counter Spell can negate any spell whose level is not higher than the spell slot you spent. If the spell's level is higher, you still get a chance to negate it, but you need to make an ability check. We can also learn the spell Remove Curse to better protect our allies. At level 8, we get the ability to create Transmuter Stones. Now we can grant ourselves proficiency in Constitution saving throws. At this level, we can also learn and prepare Force Life. This spell gives you some temporary hit points. This effect lasts a whole day as long as you don't take damage and lose those hit points, so you only need to cast it at the beginning of the day. At level 9, we can learn the spell Conjure Minor Elemental to summon another unit for our party, which is recommended for any mage build. At level 10, we can choose our second feat. Here, we choose Ability Improvement to increase our dexterity to 20, the cap, maximizing everything. At level 11, we can learn the spell Conjure Elemental to summon a stronger unit for our party. At level 12, we will unlock our level 6 spell slot. Now we can upcast Conjure Elemental to summon the strongest unit we can summon for our party. Okay, we have talked about how good this build is, now let's talk about its weaknesses. I think the most obvious weakness is that you completely rely on elixirs for your strength. If you get ambushed while resting and equipped with a strength weapon, you will be very weak. So make sure you always have backup elixirs and can drink wine in the first turn if something like this happens. Another thing is, you are always concentrating on Shield of Faith and can't concentrate on anything else. This limits your utility outside of combat, but not very much. The last weakness is your casting ability. We get Counterspell from the Wizard class, which uses intelligence to cast the spells, but we have a low intelligence, so it's not a good idea to use Counterspell against the spells with a higher level than the slot you use. And that is everything about this Alchemist Paladin build. Hope you like it. If you like this video or if you like what I'm doing, please subscribe to my channel and help it grow. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.